Minecraft settings. We all have different settings, but some are better for FPS and some are better for just like general looks. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to do both of them with my settings, and yeah, let's go through them. This video is also sort of different to what I normally do. Yeah, also new skin, pretty pog. But I'm pretty sick of people asking me for my settings, so yeah, next time they ask for my settings, I'll just send them this video. Alright, so the first thing we gotta go over is client. Basically, this is not really settings, but yeah, if you have a client, it's definitely gonna improve your FPS. I believe it does something to do with like prioritizing your GPU a bit more, stuff like that, I don't know. But it gives me more FPS. But yeah, currently I've capped my FPS at 255, only because when it goes to 800, my graphics card does some weird stuff, and my graphics card sounds like it wants to die. Not really, but it just like annoys me slightly. The fans go really high. And so first things first, FOV 90, a lot of people use it. Technoblade uses it, I think, and Dream. That's why I used it, and I've been using it since. Now, skin customization, all this stuff, I don't know. Musics and sounds, pretty much I play with this a lot when I'm doing streaming or recording. This doesn't really matter. Let's put it on the best number in the world. Okay, Pog. Video settings, this is where all your FPS boosting comes from. Basically, the first thing you want to do is set your graphics to fast. That's a must. Setting them to fancy is alright, but setting them fast, it's a lot better. Also, this is my speed bridging practice world. Yeah, this is where I practice speed bridging. Anyway, that's besides the point. Also, because I'm on a single player world, I'm going to be getting a lot more FPS, and it's going to be a lot more smoother than being in Hypixel, because there's no invisible entities or anything like that. Smooth lighting maximum just looks really nice, and smooth lighting level 100%. GUI scale normal. I see a lot of people play with large. I know Bedless Noob plays with large, all that stuff, but it's just too much, you know? It's too in your face. So, video settings, GUI scale, normal. Brightness, bright, definitely. Dynamic lights, off. This is like just torches and stuff. I don't know. It just makes it faster. Shaders, however, this is where a big part of the whole entire looks come from. Basically, I've got a bunch of shaders here. They look very nice, but they will take a hit on your computer, and it will decrease your FPS. If you just want to make Minecraft look a little bit sharper, you can go to internal. After it changes to internal, you can turn render quality and shadow quality to 2. Otherwise, you can bop on a nice, lovely shader, and it just looks really clean, but maybe a bit laggy. I don't know. Alright, next thing, details. A lot of these have been changed. Actually, I don't think much of them have been changed. Clouds off, definitely off. If you've got a custom sky, turn them off. They're just big blocks and they don't like fit the aesthetic of the sky. Currently, using the downfold pack, don't ask in the description, please. Yeah, so that's why the sky looks really nice and it doesn't have big blocky white things floating. Trees, fancy. This was also shown on Yusei Fudo's channel. Pretty much, if you put them on fancy, the leaves look clear. As you can see in my hand, leaves look clear. And yeah, when you're playing Bed Wars, it's just handy, you know? It's just handy. Alright, sky off. That just basically means the bottom half of the sky for some reason. I don't know why. But turn it off if you're playing stuff like Skywars and Bed Wars, because then you get to see the entire sky. It like cuts off half just at the bottom. Sun and moon off. This gives you a bit more FPS. It only shows a sun and moon, and sometimes there's even a sun in your texture pack. There's not in this texture pack though. Anyway, fog, fast or off. Fast just gives it a little bit of a nicer look. I don't know. Up to you, personal preference. Translucent blocks, fast or default, up to you. Dropped items, default. Vignette, I switch it on to fancy. Sometimes it gets annoying, say for instance you look down and you're about to bridge in a Bed Wars match. This black vignette comes like around your screen and it like comes on and off. I don't know like the criteria for it to turn on, but it just does every now and then. But yeah, it makes the game look a little bit more cinematic when recording. Alright, swamp colors, yeah, just leave them on. You're not really going to come across a swamp unless you're playing survival. Cloud height off. If you've got no clouds, there's no need for this. Rain and snow default. You can set it to fast or fancy. Probably set it to off though, or fast. I'm going to set mine to fast. Stars on, I think this just means the sky, yeah. This just means the sky. So if you turn it off, you'll get the default sky. If you turn it on, you'll get the custom sky that comes with the texture pack. Show capes. I like to have that on because I have a nice cape. Yeah, go follow me, twitch.tv/JonoCosta. Anyway, fog start. This is just like the corner there. As you can see, when I change it, doesn't really do much. You can turn it off if you want. I think this has got to do with render distance as well. Held item tooltips. I think that just shows up. Yeah, don't worry about that. Entity shadows just around entities, as you can see around my feet. Smooth biomes on, just makes everything smooth. I don't know. Alright, sicko. Animations. I have them all on because it looks really good for YouTube, but particles to minimal because it allows me to actually see the players I'm hitting. If you have sort of a laptop or something that's not as powerful, maybe just turn all of them off. Let's get out of that. Animations, or we went over that. Render distance 12. I usually change this depending on what I'm doing. If I'm playing survival, I would probably put this up a little bit higher, and I would increase my RAM usage because that allows for these chunks to be rendered as well. So I'd put it up to 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM, and yeah. Max frame rate, I've capped it at 255. That's because if you have motion blur on, it makes it look a lot nicer. Whereas if you had it unlimited motion blur, I don't know, it doesn't look as great. I'm not too sure. You get to see the motion blur a bit more. Plus, it reduces screen tearing when I do really fast movements. View bobbing, you can turn this off if you do like God bridging that. It just means when you walk around, your hand in the bottom right starts moving around, and yeah. Also when you walk as well, it does stuff. Use VBOs, I don't know why I have this off actually. This will give me more FPS, and yeah, pretty pog champ. Alternate blocks, I think this is about texture packs or something. Dynamic FOV, you probably want to turn this on. Basically, you can tell when you're sprinting and when you're not sprinting. It's nice to know when you're sprinting and when you're not, you know? Now, quality. Map levels, set them to maximum. Anisotropic filtering, turn that to off. Clear water, yeah, better frames. If you have bad line client, you can set that to better frames. I think some of these settings as well, you can only get if you have Optifine or a client. Better grass off, custom fonts on. Connected textures fancy, so that's like other things. Custom sky on, if you turn it off, once again, the sky goes away. That's if you get a sky with a texture pack. Custom entity models, I think this is to do with like texture packs and that. Emissive textures, I think this is like torches and that, like when light bounces off stuff or something like that. Yeah, light emitting particles. Map type, nearest, anti-aliasing. If you want your game to just look a little bit nicer, you could increase this. I think it does something. I think it's got something to do with screen tearing, I believe, or just pixels being out of place. Better snow off, custom colors on. I'm pretty sure this has got to do. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, if you turn this off, if you turn this on or off, it doesn't really change much. Apparently, it'll give you more FPS if you turn it off though. Natural textures, turn this off. FPS, turn this on if you want more natural textures. It's as simple as that. Custom items on, custom GUIs on. Alright, now if we go across to performance, here's where sort of the FPS boosting comes into play. Smooth FPS, you want to turn this off, because if you have smooth FPS, it'll cap it somewhere really high, but it does all that stuff. Fast render, if you want to increase your FPS and you don't want to use motion blur, you can't use shaders or motion blur with this, but it gives you more FPS, and it just, yeah, makes the game smoother in the long run. Chunk updates 1, yeah, gives you more FPS. Render regions, turn that on. I don't know why that's off. That's got to do with like VBOs and that. Yeah, smart animations. I think that turns off when you're not looking at something. So say for instance, you've got a fire going on. If you look away from the fire, the actual animation will stop. Whereas if you had this off, it would keep going and it would eat up FPS. So it only turns on animations when you're directly looking at them. Smooth world off, more FPS. Fast math on. Just if you turn it off, you will get a bit smoother aim. But if you turn it on, it's got to do with trigonometry and aiming, triangles and that. Yeah. Dynamic updates off and lazy chunk loading on. This will give you more FPS. Other, I pretty much haven't touched any of this. You probably shouldn't either.